Hey, what's going on, everyone? Back with another iteration of Making Amends. Today, I am out in what my wife and I call kind of our cabin, a smaller building on our property where I actually have my gun safe. So, kind of pop that thing open. That's where I keep all my knives for the most part when I'm out of town, etc. But finally cooled off enough out here where, it's kind of useful. So I'm gonna try it out to shoot this. Have a few topics to go over today. As I've said in my last Making Amends videos, it really isn't for everyone. It's more of just kind of my observations over the last little bit. Um, Again, it's not going to be for everybody. Please feel free not to watch the whole thing. But there were a few topics that came up over the last couple weeks, or certainly since the last time I did one of these, and I wanted to cover them. The first one being that I did end up starting my own knife group with Devin, so Everett 13. It's called Only Blades. I'll link it in the description. The thought kind of being is both of us kind of were we used to be big, like the Facebook group Everyday Blades. We used to be fans of that one, but we just kept kind of getting shut down left and right, to the tune of both of us now, before we post in that group, we have to submit it for admin approval, and we'll get into a few other iterations. But I'm really excited for this new group. It's been fun, but on that group, it's buy, sell, or trade knives that are over $250. So realizing that is kind of on the higher end, we really wanted to cut out some of the lower end knives, just based on both of our experiences with trying to sell them or buy them. There was a lot of time wasting there, where that $250 mark for me is kind of the benchmark, where buyers or sellers, after that price point, they're usually pretty quick. They'll ask a few quick questions and then be on their way. So really excited about that. The other thing that this group is going to showcase, so we definitely still want people to be able to post, flex pics, things that they carry every day. Reviews, that's another big one. Like if you have a YouTube review or you want to give your thoughts about a blade, we just want it to be an open kind of community where people who like higher end knives and are enthusiastic about them can kind of hang out. So definitely check that group out. Like I said, I will link the group in the description below. The next item that I wanted to cover was kind of a follow-up from my USPS. USPS stole my knife, that whole, fun video that I put out. And originally, so before I made that video, I did try to collect information on people's experiences with USPS. And I kind of went over in the last version, people kind of lost their mind with that post. But I don't know. I've still had run-ins or people commenting on that page, and it's coming from a genuine place. Like if you've sold knives and sent them via USPS and they got lost, I would like to know about that kind of the situation, so that I can help inform people on what they can do to minimize their losses on the secondary. And I kind of had this one guy who he was like, USPS, they definitely steal knives. And I was like, oh, like, do you have any experience? Like, I came from a very respectful place. And he wrote me back and was like, I'm not going to give you any more attention. You just want attention. And like, it was just kind of like out of nowhere. And I was like, my guy, I'm trying to help everyone out with this, but if you don't have anything to add to it, just keep scrolling. You just use your finger. It's pretty neat. The next piece that I've kind of noticed over the last couple weeks is just people being downright disrespectful. And I'm a moderator in a couple groups for knives and watches, things of that nature. And one of the things that I cannot and I will not tolerate is disrespect for disrespect's sake. And I don't know. I have quite the not temper. I don't want to say that. Like I'm not crazy or anything, but I will call people out. My entire life I've never had any problem doing that. But this guy, so there was one guy who was posting, asking about the Microtech Anox, and again, I wasn't able to post my review, but somebody kind of posted this, and they're like, they suck. And after that, I just kind of scrolled on, but then he was like, yeah, like get a Nimble X, whatever. And you all know from watching my videos, the beef that I have with EMP EDC is that their warranty is trash. Like they do not have support for their knives in the US. Like if something breaks on it, even if you are the original owner, you're kind of shit out of luck. Like they do not have the means to fix it. And I wrote that respectfully or whatever, and he literally wrote this back to me. So I was just like, huh, like okay, like I don't know. It was just kind of funny, but I've realized that over the last couple of weeks is just like that's something that I won't tolerate, and that's one of the tenets. Like again, with all of these experiences, I'm learning kind of what type of group I want to have, and certainly the moderators and admin that Devin and I have put in place are very like-minded. Like we won't put up with disrespect, things like that. We want it to be an open forum. And I'm always curious too, like when people say things like that, I'll always like click on their profile, and it's just like, dude, if you're gonna say stuff like that, make sure like clear out your profile pictures. Like, I mean, your pierced ears and your sick New Era hat, flat brim hat, like it's cute, but like don't put a target on your back because you'll get eaten up. But I didn't. I was just kept on scrolling. So that's the other thing that I've I don't know, noticed a lot in the last couple of weeks is just kind of disrespect all around, and I'm sick of it. I'm not going to stand for it, and make sure we're policing ourselves on these social media platforms because no one's going to do it for us. All right, the next item that I wanted to mention was just kind of my experience with the group Everyday Blades on Facebook, which is certainly a very large secondary knife group. I mean, they have over 30,000 subscribers. Nobody can really argue with it. But what I can argue with is I used to, so it wasn't unsolicited. Like somebody would be like, hey, I'm interested in a Strider SNG. And I would be like, hey, like I actually did a review on one, like check this out or whatever, just from a helpful place. Like I'm not trying to make money off of anything or just literally just getting my experiences out there. It was easier than me sitting there, typing for a half hour. Plus I really do enjoy doing knife reviews. And so, kind of pointing people in that direction. Well, Jeremy Howard, the owner of Everyday Blades, which it's like copyrighted trademark. I mean, like that's what that guy has going on for sure. He actually ended up changing the rules, and I thought it was funny. I didn't memorize it, but I'll post a shot here because when I did try to post my Anox review, got bounced back, and it was basically like you cannot have any links to. So it said no links to other groups, websites pages. So website pages, I think is what he meant, or groups. So 2 groups, you can't do that. So anyway, so that kind of changed for them, and again. Foot stomping, that's another thing why I'm really excited for the new group. I think we have about 130 something followers or people that have joined it. But, just like if you have a review or you're helping somebody out or whatever, it's just like, hey, this is out there. You should be able to post that. And I will say like that in and of itself wasn't enough to kind of make me talk to you about it. But the real kicker and what really drove me crazy was like, he posts YouTube reviews, and I just think like that's so hypocritical. Like I don't think it's like a threat thing. Like I'm not on this guy's level at all, but I was just kind of like, that's one thing. Like if you make it a group rule, I don't think that even if you're in own, like it's a community, it's a community, right? So like no one should be exempt from the rules. And no sooner did that post get denied than, Jeremy Howard was posting his own review of another knife. And in that, to me, I was just like, come on, man. I don't know. I don't really do the whole like hypocrisy thing. I don't have time for it, but it really bothers me. So there was that. We'll move right along. All right. The next Making Amends item that I wanted to cover was my review or overview of my Koenig Arius, and huge shout out to the member ZKP or ZKD. I apologize. I don't have all this memorized, but he actually pointed out. So I did say in the video that my Arius was a Gen 4, and as it turns out, and he was absolutely correct. So I appreciate you correcting me. It's actually a Gen 2, and he was able to kind of deduct that from the flipper tab that's on it. So mine has a pointy flipper tab, so it is actually a Gen 2, not a Gen 4. So again, appreciate the feedback. One of the reasons why I do these videos is to kind of the things that I mess up, realizing that no one's perfect and I'm just a dude that likes sharp objects. I really did appreciate the feedback. Thank you for that. The next piece was having to do actually with my Chris Reeve carbon fiber. So the Incosi that I have, one of my big plugs in there was like, man, why won't Chris Reeve, put these things on bearings? And I thought it was cool. The user Big John, again, has been following me or subscribed to my channel for a while now. he brought up a really good point, like with Chris Reeve, that a lot of companies, and I see it all the time, you know, putting bearings on a knife are kind of the easy way out. So tolerances don't have to be great. You just kind of slap in these cage bearings and everything rolls. Like the cool thing about Chris Reeve, and I've had more of an appreciation the more Chris Reeves that I buy, the more I read. I think that that's really cool that they are running on washers, so they're not going to be, I actually call them slam shut now. It's not just drop shut, slam shut. That's a new thing. But, you know, to get that hydraulic opening and closing and that controlled action, it's really a testament to the manufacturing process and the fact that the blades are hand fitted and all that. So I definitely, I really appreciated Big John kind of pointing that out, because, you know, the irony being, you know, like I certainly, even since I made that video, my thought or like my opinion on them has changed, where I'm like, I don't think I would want bearings, to be honest with you now. But I just think it's kind of funny too, and I hit on it with one of my videos talking about the McNees. But guys, and it was funny, a few months ago, people with the McNees 3.5, when that came out and was like the rage, which it's starting to taper off now for sure, but they were just like, man, best action I've ever seen, whatever, like flips open. I mean, people were buying like these, like, you know, PB bearings for it, certainly skiff bearings. I put them in mine too, but then people were just kind of like, I don't know if they felt empty inside or whatever. It was this like nostalgic piece. People are putting washers in these, you know, these knives now to kind of control the action a little bit, because they fly open. And that is always like, you can quote me on this, from the first McNees I ever reviewed, that was kind of what I was able to kind of gather from the action, was that it was almost like this blade was like angry. It was trying to rip right past the blade stop and keep opening to whatever that would look like. People are trying to slow them down now, and I think that that's kind of funny. Like, we have an idea. It's definitely a trend thing for sure. So I don't know. I just thought that was kind of an interesting point, but moving right along. All right, the next item that I wanted to cover was my Shiro F3 NS, which I kind of got a wild hair at my ass, I guess, and I was like, you know what, I want to clean this thing. Like, I've owned it for a while, I've never cleaned it, and the question always kind of bothered me. I didn't know if the MBRS, so the multi-row bearing system that, you know, Shiro puts in most of their higher-end knives, I didn't know if they were caged bearings or not, but I can say unequivocally, like, they are caged bearings. So I figured that out. It's not like the Quantum Ursus where they're loose. And the big question mark for me after that, and realizing that, you know, lesser knives than the Quantum Ursus have caged bearings, I was just like, what were they thinking? Like, it could not have cost more to cage them. It certainly doesn't, you know, make the action something crazy that caged bearings could never attain. It's just weird to me. And if you're one of those people that buys a knife and never takes it apart, they just throw some oil on it, then like, you're good to go. Just don't even worry about it. But for someone that does like to do maintenance on their knives, like, some knives are easier than others, and that Quantum Ursus is one of the most demanding, and like, you know, it demands all of your concentration to get it right. And I mean, the bearings, they're so tiny, the chances that you'll lose one are very high, and then what do you do? Like, it's tough. But I do want to say, and I can say now, that the F3 NS, the multi-row bearing system, if you have a Shiro that is running the MBRS, they are caged bearings. So hallelujah. Like, I'm actually excited about that. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about was CRKT, and I'm sorry, CRK, look at me, no crickets here. But Chris Reeve. So I don't really do a lot of YouTube surfing, to be honest with you. I don't really watch any reviews or anything. I don't know. Like, if somebody posts something, or like, obviously, like, if one of my buddies posts something, I'll check it out. But I don't go like surfing. But one of the videos that was recommended to me, and I was just kind of like, I don't know. I'll see if I can find it. I don't really know if I want to post it, because I don't want to get in this like big back and forth thing. But there was this, so it was a debate about S30V versus S35VN versus S45VN, and then finally Damascus, as it pertains to Chris Reeve. And this guy, he was definitely kind of an older, kind of like quirky dude, and his like, and huge air quotes, his claim to fame was drilling spidey holes in Chris Reeve knives, so eliminating the thumb stud. And this guy, it was so funny because I mean, whatever, like his more shocking titles, I was like, oh man, all right, I want to see what this. Oh, an answer to Chris Reeve switching to whatever, and like why Chris Reeves are terrible. But then this same dude, he like, it's all for show. I shouldn't get spun up about it, but it's more of like he's worked up, says that Chris Reeves are trash, but he has a really good, like 1 in a million. Nobody else has the blade steel one because of the heat treat that he got. He got lucky. Nobody else is. They're trash, and he knows that, and he will remind you at least 7 to 8 times per video that like he knows better than anyone because he drills fucking holes in these things. And I was just like, I don't know. It was a really like weird flex. Like he was like, oh yeah, S30, like it took me this long to drill a hole because I do it the best. I put it right where you need it, whatever. I put it in it. Honestly, like very derivative terminologies for it too. It was like the Nkosi hole, or I don't know. It was something weird where it was like a spidey hole, but I don't remember the vernacular that he used. But it was just kind of like, dude, you sit there with a drill press and like drill holes in knives, and like that's what you want. And he was like, I know haters are gonna come back and say, it's even though S35 VN is a softer steel, which presumably, I guess Chris Reeve, or like the rumor is, they changed the blade hardness so that it wouldn't wear their production machines out as much, which I don't know. I don't pretend to know. I don't really care, to be honest with you, but it was crazy. Like that buddy was spun up about this, and how, S35 VN was just kind of them taking the shortcut, and S45 VN, even though he doesn't have any, they're still probably trash. And like, I don't know. It was really kind of interesting to me to kind of waste a bunch of my time watching that. So I don't know. I was kind of reminded as to why I don't normally surf or look for videos to watch on YouTube, because it was just, honestly, it was weird. And it goes back to that more fundamental kind of way that I look at things, where, I mean, if you're using some sort of chemical to etch, or, if you're glass blasting things, whatever, if you're drilling holes in your shit, like, that's going to void the warranty. And I don't know, like there's nothing, like I want to experience a knife like how it was made from the manufacturer. That being said, I also myself don't want to be a hypocrite by being like, oh, but you just made that video of that Spencer 31 blade swap. That's a little bit different from me. That's a different type of blade, but the blade looks exactly the same. I wasn't making any permanent changes to the knife. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. Like, I don't know, but this guy, if do a search on YouTube for him, he is an expert at drilling holes in knives. So that's pretty cool. All right, we're gonna finish up here pretty soon. I think I just have 2 more topics. All right, the next thing that's kind of occurred over the last couple of weeks is the Chris Reeve price hike or price increase, which I'm sure you all are aware because you're super locked into the knife world, but Chris Reeve raised their prices $50 on all new and existing orders. So if I had ordered a knife from Chris Reeve, they just all of a sudden, and I don't really know this, like people had their hair on fire. I mean, I can't imagine it was like, you owe us $50 now because we just decided to up the price. I'm sure there was like a little bit of lead time there, but in the back of my mind, I have 2 thoughts on it. One, it's shitty, but at the end of the day, like I realize that production costs, material costs, everything has gone up, and Chris Reeve is a family run company, and people that are buying new Chris Reeves, although it would be annoying, I don't think I would get like wrapped around the axle and make like a Karen post or something like that, because it's only $50. Realizing that $50 means more to some people than others, but on the whole, it's $50. I think moving forward, the fact that the prices went up, that's just in keeping with the way our economy is right now. But the existing orders, that's a little tough. Like that is kind of like you're selling a knife to somebody. You sell them it for a price. They say they're gonna deliver this knife or whatever, and then at the end of the day, they're like, hey, actually, it's gonna be $50 more, like after the fact. So that is a little shitty, but I don't know. At the end of the day, I guess like it doesn't really bother me. Like it didn't trigger me at all. I just think like, could it have been done better? Like probably. I mean, it's kind of scary, I guess, too, that, they're kind of so strapped for cash, or, needed to make that price hike immediate like that. Like, I think a better way to do things would have been like, okay, cool, like the people who already ordered, you're grandfathered in, but all new orders, starting on Monday or something like that, you're going to see that $50 price hike due to blah, 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 blah. So I don't know. I really thought that I would have a more polarized opinion on it, but at the end of the day, I was kind of like, like, I mean, it doesn't affect me, but I did try to like empathize with the people who had ordered stuff, and it would be a little bit of an annoyance. But at the end of the day, if I ordered a custom Chris Reeve or got one to be exactly like I wanted it to be, honestly, it wouldn't be a big deal. I don't know. And I mean, hopefully they're letting you cancel the orders, right? If you don't want to fork over another $50, maybe they just cancel it and then reimburse the rest. I'm assuming that's the way that it goes. But kind of another thing that's going on kind of in the Chris Reeve world. So with that ends it for Making Amends. I'm actually pretty excited. I'm traveling to New York. I haven't taken vacation in a really long time, but I'm going there to visit with family. I just recently, it's made an appearance in a few of my videos, but finally got my hands on a Chris Reeves on again, it's been great to have it in my hands again. I guess like my big takeaway from getting this again is just like, I thought that it was a lot bigger than when I actually got it and had it in my hand, put it right next to like a Sebenza 31, and I was like, this thing isn't even that much bigger. So I don't know, but I have been really enjoying carrying this. I think moving forward, there really aren't too many knives that I'm after now. I do want to find, I think it was Knife Joy that put it out, but a Chris Reeve large 31 in carbon fiber, but carbon fiber inlay as opposed to an entire carbon fiber show side. I think that's kind of next on my hit list, but other than that, I've just stopped buying stupid knives. Like I don't know, Devin and I talk about it quite often, and they're the gimmicks, blah blah blah, all that stuff. Like I'm really after like Striders, CRKs. Here's a few of my lone wolves right there. I'll keep collecting those. I did end up selling my McNeese 3.5 in Magna Cut, which I honestly didn't think that I would ever sell it, but at the end of the day, I never carried it. I didn't pick it up, and since I'm going on vacation, like I said, I kind of have all my knives in here, but when I'm not, I usually keep up. I'll grab it actually. Show you guys. I'll keep kind of like this little pouch. It's a GP1, I think, from Triple Out Design. I'll kind of keep the knives that I'm carrying in here, but this Curtis F3, that's another one that might be on the hit list, or not the hit list, the sale list pretty soon, just because I never reach for it. But I'm certainly keeping my Strider SMF, my SNG. I don't really know what disposition of this Koenig Arius is going to be for me. I think I need to get more stick time with it and actually carry it more. But this is kind of my little bedside pouch that I'll keep, and then I have another Benchmade carry case. One of the reviews that's going to be coming up is going to be this Strider PT, so I picked that up, which if this wasn't a Strider, I wouldn't have bought it. But again, it's one that I'm kind of missing from my collection. And then I'm holding on to my Spyderco Spidey Chef, which I was gonna make a video on this but never got around to it. I did end up putting the other titanium scale on this, so it used to have a micarta show side, but after doing some maintenance to this thing, the micarta was actually kind of spongy. And I know in the past I've never said that it was never a detriment to have a micarta and a titanium side, like no failures for anything. I couldn't get the blade centered because the screw hole with the micarta, and if you put like grease or any sort of like lube on there, it just got really like spongy, and it was driving me crazy not being able to get the blade centered. But I mean, now it's right on, and honestly this thing's so lightweight, it's negligible for sure. And then I'm gonna be holding on to this Chris Reeve 31. So this is kind of the bastard stepchild of my Frankenstein 31, which I love that I'm going to be carrying. So the Damascus and carbon fiber one, I'm definitely going to be carrying this too. I did end up getting another clip though, so on my to-do list way down is switching out the clip for that. And definitely have my Shiro F3 NS. That's one of my favorites. I ended up cleaning it, and this thing is just, it's stupid. Like I love this thing. So gonna be holding on to that one as well. Yeah, other than that though, nothing really on my radar here. I'm just gonna try to enjoy the knives that I have, and but who knows? But this is me kind of making a promise or an intention to myself to not buy stupid knives anymore. So we'll see how long that lasts. But I really appreciate y'all tuning in. Again, realizing that this isn't for everyone. You know, we do have some new subscribers, so thanks for coming along. We'll hopefully be pumping out some more knife content here pretty soon. And, you know, finally, just want to make one last plug for my new group, Only Blades, greater than 250. Check it out. You know, the name kind of implies that it's just for buy, selling, and trading, but there's a lot of really great guys on there. And, you know, hopefully it'll be kind of a fun community, lots of pictures posted and reviews and all that stuff. We're also going to look into doing some like giveaways and stuff like that. So appreciate y'all tuning in. We will see you next time.